I was just thinking of a joke that one of our new folks told me Sunday, and I mentioned it last night. And I'm a horrible joke teller. You can tell me a joke today, and I'll laugh. And you can tell me again tomorrow because I will have forgotten and I'll laugh again. So you are good. I'm a good audience for a joke teller. But anyway, I was walking into church Sunday morning at 11:02, a little behind, and we have this nice couple that's been coming for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and he's in a wheelchair, and they sit back there in the corner. And as I'm walking up the aisle, he tugs at my robe and says, "Do you have time for a joke?" And I said, "Well, it's 11:02." And so he tells me quickly this joke. He used a little kid named Tom, but I'm going to use the word Fred because Fred's our buddy around here. And so Fred goes to school, and the teacher gives all the kids an assignment. The kids are supposed to draw a picture of somebody they know really well. And so they're about finishing up, and the teacher comes up to Fred, and he's still drawing a picture. And the teacher says, "Well, Fred, whose picture are you drawing?" And he says, "Well, I'm drawing a picture of God." And the teacher says, "Nobody knows what God looks like." And Fred says, "Well, you will after I'm done." So I thought about, what does God look like? And I was thinking that sometimes God looks like you. And God forbid that God would look like me. But the words for today say this, from Joey Gorga. Positions are temporary. Ranks and titles are limited. But the way you treat people will always be remembered. And that is so true. I know there are times in my life, maybe when I was younger and came to the church, and where you kind of fight for your position. And maybe you're concerned about your title and where you fit in. But that kind of stuff will be long gone. But how you treat people, how we reach out, that will always be remembered. And when you treat somebody with kindness, when you go out of your way to make somebody feel special, even if they make a mistake, and even if they're different than you are, then maybe in that moment, you look like God, because that's where God comes alive. I was just thinking about that in ordinary moments. I go to the Jewel like every day, sometimes twice because I forget stuff. And last week I went there, and I was walking out, leaving the cashier with my 2 or 3 plastic bags of stuff. And all of a sudden, one of the cashiers from another aisle says, "Stop, you got to pay for all that." And she gave me that angry look, and I turned around, and the other cashiers looked in shock at the way she talked to me, because she was actually accusing me of walking out the store without paying for my stuff. And I'm like, I'm like a fixture over there, you know? And I just went, "It's okay," and I walked out, and it felt ugly because, I was treated with a little disrespect. But I was thinking, I've done that to people too, maybe. That when I'm having a tough day, or when I'm behind or whatever, that there are probably moments when I don't treat people with the respect they deserve. And I was thinking, how we reach out to people and how we treat people just really, really makes a difference. And that's going to be our legacy. This Sunday is Palm Sunday, and it's the beginning of Holy Week, which is, I think, one of the most special weeks in the year. And I was thinking about Jesus coming into Jerusalem on the donkey and the people shouting Alleluia. And after Jesus gets into Jerusalem and the Alleluias are over, he goes up on a hill and looks over Jerusalem, the city that he loves. And he weeps, because he realizes that the people that were shouting Alleluia, they didn't really understand what kind of Messiah he was going to be. He was going to be a Messiah who would suffer. That at the end of the week, he would be having his Passover with his disciples, and then he would be put to death on the cross. And he really wanted people to understand. When I think about what God looks like, I picture God looking over his creation, I picture God looking over our church on a Sunday morning or a Thursday night, or maybe God looking at us right now. I picture God looking over his creation in the Ukraine. I think of what the people in Ukraine are going through. And I can picture God weeping, because God gives us the gift of life. God gives us this incredible creation. But God doesn't control what we do with the creation. God doesn't control you. He doesn't control me. God gives us the freedom to live with goodness and dignity and kindness in our hearts, and maybe the freedom to take advantage of others and take the dark road, like what's happening in Ukraine. And sometimes we wonder, where is God in all this? Well, you know, God doesn't control everything that we do. God gives us freedom, and sometimes that freedom is taken advantage of and hurts other people. And I think of how does God feel? So if God weeps over his creation, we weep too, because God understands what we're going through. And I guess that's really one of the greatest gifts, that little boy drawing a picture of God, because he's drawing a picture of the God that he knows. And if we draw a picture of God, what would that look like? But I do know this: God is incarnate in the heart and soul of people like you and me. If you want to teach somebody about God, if you want to teach your kids or your nieces and nephews about God, then teach them in the way you walk, teach them in the way you talk, teach them in those ordinary moments when it's easy to be too busy, it's easy to be short with somebody, but then when we stand back and we're humble and we're kind, then God comes alive. And that's the kind of God that little boy was going to draw. That's the kind of God that I want to draw. And that's the kind of God that I want to live in you and inside me. Holy Week is an incredible journey, and a journey into Jerusalem. But for us, Holy Week is a journey into daily life, where we meet ordinary people in ordinary moments. And that's where this incredible God comes alive. And we can be a part of that story. I'm glad I'm a part of your story. You're sure a part of mine. And I look forward to seeing you twice on Sunday at 8:30 and 11 o'clock. God bless. Happy Holy Week.